Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a fun wintry themed book tag to share with you guys. I just thought it was going to be a really good time to sit down and talk to you about some of my favorite winter book recommendations. And the way I'm going to share it with you is through this tag video that I saw on Bookable's channel, which if you're not familiar with Heather from Bookable, she has some really great book recommendations. So I highly recommend checking out her channel. But I'm really excited to answer the same questions that she recently answered on her video. All right, so let's get started with the first tag question. Number 1, falling snow. The colors of winter are muted. Choose a book that has whites, light blues, or grays on the cover. And I literally finished this book last night and it was a perfect fit for this category. And it is The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. Wow, this book is so creepy. It is a really creepy story to the point where I had to stop reading it at night and watch some fun YouTube videos about Disney World before I went to bed to get my mind off of it. This book takes place in Vermont in the winter time, and it is following a few different storylines, following 2 different time periods as well, which is always really interesting. Back in 1908, there was a woman named Sarah who lived in this farmhouse with her husband near a location that everyone thought was cursed. I think it was called the Devil's Hand or the Devil's something. I don't remember. But anyway, everyone thought this area was cursed, and Sarah and her family experienced some pretty horrific things on this land. And Sarah kept a journal. And through the years, other families lived in this same house. And now we're kind of going to current time where a girl's mom goes missing. And she has found some of these diary entries that are helping her piece together how she could possibly find her mom, and also kind of bringing to life these old legends and stories about the area of Vermont where they live, where really creepy things have happened throughout the years, where people have gone missing or have been killed and things like that. So it's really, really a great story and a perfect winter read. And I think the cover definitely matches this tag question. It does have whites and grays, and it's a really, really wintry scene with the branches and everything else. So that was a good fit for the first tag. Okay, the second one is a Crackling Fire. Colder weather makes for the perfect time to sit by a crackling fire. What book is the best to curl up to next to a warm fire? And I'm going to say for this category, because I do believe this was a book I read over the winter a couple of years ago and absolutely loved, and I can totally see myself rereading this book next to a fire, and that is The Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is a fantasy, and it's not something I ever thought I would be interested in because it talks about the fairy world and it's a love story. And I think it's supposed to be categorized as a young adult book, but it is not. There are some scenes in this book that I do not think would be appropriate for young adults. I was a little bit embarrassed reading them myself, but it's a really great love story. It's about a woman named Fire, and I never know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Fire is a huntress, and she kills a wolf, and by her killing this wolf, she is introduced and brought into this treacherous, magical land, is how they describe it. And she is kind of being held captive by Tamlin, which is one of the immortal fairies. And it ends up being a love story. It's just really, really a good read. I read this book pretty quickly and I very much enjoyed it. And it definitely seems like a book that should be read by the fire, because it brings you to all of these different worlds and locations, and it's very atmospheric. I just feel like it's definitely a great, cozy fireside read. But I do have an honorable mention, and that is any Nancy Drew book. So this one I have yet to read. I've read a couple, and the ones that I have read in the winter by the fire, I really did enjoy, because her mysteries are just so good and so immersive. And, you know, they're not too intense, obviously, because they are geared for a younger crowd. but they're still a really fun book to read fireside. You could probably sit by the fire for a few hours and read the entire book beginning to end and really enjoy yourself. So definitely have to give a shout out to some Nancy Drew mysteries for fireside reading. Okay, the next one says Ice Storm. Winter storms can be brutal. What book do you love that takes the characters through a brutal season? So I knew right away, as soon as I was reading this description, what book I was going to be choosing for it. And that is The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. So basically a group of old college friends in their 30s get together at this hunting lodge. And I believe it's like for New Year's Eve. And they're having a big get-together party, spending the night. It's in this really old mansion in the middle of the winter, and it's cold and it's creepy and weird things are going on. And it is a murder mystery, very much like Agatha Christie novels, but pretty intense. And it really was a great story. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Lucy Foley's characters are usually not very likable. So there's that, but in any event, this book had me guessing and it really kept my attention. There were a lot of creepy things that happened throughout the story, and oftentimes they were outside in the freezing cold snow. And yeah, totally fits that tag for sure. Okay, the next tag is Winter Wishes. Spending more time indoors allows more time to dream and wish. What character is living a life that you dream about? And if you guys know me at all, you're gonna probably be able to guess this one very easily. But for me, if I could be any character, of course it would be Belle from Beauty and the Beast. So I love this book. This is the Beauty and the Beast hardcover interactive book. I mean, there's actually like all of these little things inside the book that you can kind of play with, which I think is super fun. Let me just show you guys here with the little windows. I mean, this is totally up my alley. I love books like this. Very, very cool. But, you know, who doesn't want to be a Disney princess, first of all? But Belle and the Enchanted Castle and the Beast, who is actually a prince in disguise. And, you know, you have the atmosphere of the castle in the wintertime. It's so beautiful and serene. And Beauty and the Beast just has all of the winter vibes for me. And if I could be any fairy tale character in any story, it would definitely be Belle. Okay, so the next tag, number 5, Lip Balm and Lotion. Soothing dry skin is part of the winter for many. What book is full of soothing and comforting words? And also, I'm going to share my favorite lip balm and lotion just because Heather did on Bookable. So I was like prepared for that. So I love mintbalm.com. This is by Glossier. I actually talked about this, I think, on my Christmas gift video, or definitely stocking stuffers maybe. I don't even know, but these little tubes of lip balm are amazing. I have this in coconut, I have it in cookie butter, and I have it in mint, and I use it all the time, all day long. It definitely is hydrating and helps a lot. And then for hand lotion, I have the Gold Balm Healing Hydrating Cream with Aloe, and I've also been using this a lot. And you can, actually, if you guys can see, I have my winter Color Street nail strips on, and there's like snowflakes on my nails, if you could see that. So that was actually perfect for this video. And the book that I have chosen for this category is something I actually like to listen to often on Audible, but I do have the hard copy of the book as well, and that is The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. This book is just so inspirational. It really changes your outlook on life and your perception of things. And it really is helpful in encouraging you to kind of bring positive thoughts and vibes into your life, no matter how bad things are. And what they really talk about in The Secret is the use of positive energy, and kind of like what you put out into the universe comes back to you, kind of like manifesting your dreams and things like that. And I find it to be incredibly heartwarming and inspirational, and it puts my mindset in a good place, especially during the cold and dreary days of winter. It can really help you change your perspective on things and focus on bringing joy into your world by kind of putting the good vibes out there. So I really, really highly recommend listening to this on Audible. I really do enjoy it, and it's one of those things that I listen to over and over again because it does kind of bring me peace of mind at times when I'm maybe feeling overwhelmed or nervous about things going on. So really, really a great read. So the number 6 tag has nothing to do with books. It's called Peppermint Mocha. What is your go-to winter food or drink for those reading marathons of winter? And my favorite warm drink has been lately a caramel macchiato. Hot caramel macchiato from Starbucks. I started drinking it because I was trying to scale back a little bit on my sugar intake, and I was always doing the pumpkin spice chai tea latte, which is delicious and I love, but it's a little too sweet for me. And even with less pumps of the pumpkin, it still had a lot of sugar in it, and I was looking for something that still was warm and cozy and that I would still enjoy drinking but without all of the sugar, and that's what I have been drinking lately, and I really do enjoy a caramel macchiato. Those are big words. I always like stumble over it when I order it at Starbucks. That's the thing with Starbucks. I feel like the drinks can be challenging to order sometimes. When my kids give me their orders, I'm like, you have to text it to me and I'll read from the script because it's just too many big words. That is the winter themed book tag. I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to my selections. Maybe it gave you some ideas of books to consider reading this winter that maybe you've never read before. I would love to hear any book recommendations that you have in the comments below. One thing that I can say about reading in the winter that is a little bit different for me than when I read other times of year, because I am a seasonal reader, and I'm sorry if you hear my dogs barking their heads off in the background. There is somebody walking their dog and they're going ballistic. But in the summer, I love to read books about like travel and being at the beach and things like that. In the fall, I love to read books about just like spooky, ghostly encounters and things that are like kind of dark and scary. In the spring, I usually go for more like romantic books, love stories, things like that. In the winter, I not only like to do kind of winter themed, kind of like cold in a cabin in the middle of the woods, in snowy, cold weather. I like to do that. So I do like to do a little bit of seasonal reading, but sometimes in the winter, I also like to read books about being on a tropical island or going someplace warm because I'm kind of looking to escape, at least in my mind, the idea of being cold all the time here in New Jersey, because I don't do well in cold weather and I am always missing the summer when I'm getting cold in January and February and March. Luckily, this year hasn't been too bad. We've actually had not much snow at all this year, which is very unusual. But anyway, I'm rambling. Yeah, I like to read a combination of both in the winter, which is interesting. But let me know in the comments below some of your favorite winter reads or anything good that you've actually read lately. I'm always looking for good book recommendations. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you real soon. Bye.